Chapter 1. The Spreadsheet Prison. The fluorescent hum of the office was the only pulse Elias felt. At 32, he was a senior data processor, a title that sounded impressive but mostly involved moving numbers from one digital cell to another until his vision blurred. He was a cog in a machine that didn't know his name, earning just enough to afford a life he was too tired to live. His bank account was a flat line. After rent, student loans, and the meager cost of existing in a city that didn't love him back, Elias often had less than $50 to last him until the next pay cycle. That night, hunched over a lukewarm bowl of instant noodles, Elias didn't scroll through social media to envy his friends' vacations. Instead, he typed 5 words into a search bar: "How to make money tonight." The results were mostly scams, get-rich-quick schemes involving colorful crypto coins or surveys that paid 3 cents an hour. But buried on page 4 of a forum was a mention of user testing. Companies needed real people to navigate their websites while thinking out loud. He signed up, plugged in a dusty headset, and landed a $10 gig. As he spoke into the microphone, describing why a checkout button was hard to find, something shifted. For the first time in years, someone was paying him for his perspective, not just his compliance. He stayed up until 3 a.m., earning $40. It wasn't a fortune, but it was his. Chapter 2. The Digital Scavenger. Elias didn't quit his job the next day. He became a ghost. He did the bare minimum at the office, using his lunch breaks and administrative time to explore the digital frontier. He realized the internet wasn't one big market, it was a million tiny specialized alleys. He began microtasking, categorizing images for AI training. Then he discovered digital arbitrage. He noticed that certain technical manuals were selling for pennies at local estate sales, but were in high demand on niche hobbyist forums. He bought a stack of 1970s radio repair guides for $5 and sold them online for $120 within 48 hours. But his biggest breakthrough came from his own boring skills. He realized that while he hated his job, he was a master of Excel. He started creating bespoke financial templates for small business owners on Etsy, clean, automated sheets for people who couldn't tell a VLOOKUP from a hole in the ground. By the 6-month mark, his side hustle income matched his salary. The day he handed in his resignation, his boss didn't even look up from his monitor. Elias walked out into the sunlight, realizing he hadn't seen the sky at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday in a decade. Chapter 3. The Wall of Silence. Freedom, Elias quickly learned, was a double-edged sword. Without the 9-to-5 structure, the walls of his studio apartment began to close in. He was making it, but he was lonelier than ever. He went 3 days without speaking to another human being in person. His health began to slip. His commute was the 5 steps from his bed to his desk. The hustle had become his entire identity. He was checking his Etsy sales at 4 a.m., terrified that if he stopped for a second, the digital fountain would dry up. One afternoon, his laptop charger frayed and died. Panicked, he ran to a local repair shop. The owner, an older woman named Martha, watched him pace the small store. "The world won't end if you're offline for an hour, son," she said, her voice gravelly but kind. "I can't afford an hour," Elias snapped. Martha leaned over the counter. "You found a way to make a living, but you haven't found a way to live. There's a difference." She invited him to the back of the shop where a group of seniors were struggling with donated tablets. "Teach them how to use these," she said. "I'll give you the charger for free." Chapter 4. The Human Algorithm. Teaching the seniors changed the math. Elias realized that his value wasn't just in processing data, it was in translation. He had a gift for making the complex feel simple. He started a YouTube channel and a newsletter titled The Human Logic. He didn't just teach people how to make money, he taught them how to use technology to reclaim their time. He spoke about the burnout he had faced and the importance of analog hours. His audience grew, not because he was showing off Ferraris, but because he was showing them how to afford a quiet life. He partnered with ethical software companies for sponsorships, ensuring he only promoted tools that actually helped people. He also started a co-working collective in his neighborhood. He rented a small, sunlit space and offered desks at a low cost to other freelancers. He wasn't just working for himself anymore, he was building a sanctuary for people who, like him, had escaped the cubicle but lost their sense of community. Chapter 5: The Architect of Time. 2 years after his first $10 user test, Elias sat on a terrace in a small coastal town. He wasn't on vacation, he was just living. His income was now largely passive: revenue from his templates, his evergreen course on digital literacy for creatives, and his modest stake in a software startup he had advised. He still worked, but only 4 hours a day. The rest of his time was spent learning things that had no ROI in a spreadsheet: oil painting, gardening, and long-distance swimming. He looked at his phone. A notification popped up, a thank you note from a woman who had used his templates to organize her bakery and was finally able to hire her first employee. Elias smiled and put the phone in his pocket. He didn't need to check his bank balance to know he was wealthy. He had mastered the most difficult trade of all. He had exchanged his digital savvy for a physical life. He wasn't a data processor anymore. He was the architect of his own time. The sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the water. For the first time, Elias wasn't looking at the light through a screen. He was standing right in the middle of it.